Hello and welcome to the On the Knob podcast. I'm your host, Will Rooney, and today I am joined by Anthony Kelly, Henry Gibbs, and Darren Buller, and we are previewing the Champion Hurdle, which is the feature race on the opening day of the Cheltenham Festival, contested over 2 miles. And well, the cat has been thrown among the pigeons after Saturday. At the minute, it is Honeysuckle for Henry de Bromhead, the 11-4 favourite. Effortons, the reigning champion, 7-2. Goshen, of course, we'll talk about, who bounced back to flying form at Wincanton on Saturday. Abracadabra's 12-1. Silver Streak, 12-1. Sharjah, 16-1. And 20-1 Bar. Henry, I'm going to come to you first instead of the chairman of the Goshen fan club. A couple of months ago, when we were having a little look at the Champion Hurdle and having a view to it, a good few months ago, you put Honeysuckle up at 16-1. I mean, if you back that now, that looks quite shrewd. But would you be backing it at 11-4 after the win in the Irish Champion Hurdle?
Yeah, hopefully a few listeners got on at 16-1, Will, because I just thought that was just a cracking price. If the connections were going to go Champion Hurdle, it was always going to be this year. I think 11-4. I'd rather wait in regards to Honeysuckle, because I think the ground's going to have a massive say on this Champion Hurdle. I think if it is on the slow side, Honeysuckle is definitely the right favourite. But if it is on the fast side, it'd be hard to get away from Effortons for me. I just think I'm happy to excuse one bad run, and Christmas Hurdle, the excuses have come out. Henderson's happy with how she is now. And I just think she'd be better suited to quick ground. It's hard to split the front two in the market, but at this stage, I wouldn't want to put my money down anti-post. I'd rather wait and then maybe see what the weather's like. Obviously, Goshen, it's a touchy subject, but I'd still be place laying Goshen in a Champion Hurdle, to be honest. It was impressive on Saturday, but I don't know. Song for Someone ran very flat. That was beat very early on, and there's nothing else in behind. We know it's not a very deep Champion Hurdle, so it's got a chance. I mean, if some people got on at the 20-1 that Anthony put up, then fair enough. But I don't know. I think he might struggle, to be honest. It's hard for 5-year-olds. You know, Espoir Delan won recently, but the records for 5-year-olds aren't great. And I think with another winter on his back, we might see the best of Goshen next year, and I wouldn't be going near him at 9-2. In terms of, obviously, the mare sets a high standard here, and if you're looking for one from an each-way perspective, I think Abracadabras could sneak into a place. Whether he can win or not, I don't know, but if it gets good to soft ground, I think he'll be ridden for a place. He'll be held up and he'll just go past beating horses, and hopefully he'll run on into third behind the two mares. And like I mentioned earlier, Gordon Elliott is starting to hit form. Arguably could have won the Supreme. Last year was only beaten by a head at the run of the race, but David Russell probably wants it back. He probably got there too early, so I do think that could definitely run into a place. He's getting better as the season goes on, but like I said, quick ground is important to him, so he'd be the one I'd put up each way behind the two mares from an anti-post perspective at this stage. But I'd hang fire in terms of which mare I'd fancy to win, but hopefully Honeysuckle 16-1. Hopefully a few of us are already on that.
Dan, I'm going to make Ant wait a little bit longer until he has his day in the sun about Goshen. He brags about how he got on him and he told us it would be back. He can wait a little bit longer. I'll make him squeal about that one. But Honeysuckle, she's done absolutely nothing wrong, has she? This season, she's really progressed really nicely after winning the mares last year. I mean, is it a case that maybe when she beat Benny Dadu, some people were making excuses for Benny? Did we just underestimate Henry de Bromhead's charge?
I think so. I think she's shown with the 2 wins in the Dublin Racing Festival in a row. I mean, the year before last was impressive, but what she done this year, if she turns up the Honeysuckle that won a few weeks ago. She turns up in Cheltenham. I don't think any of them are going to get near her, to be honest with you. I thought it was extremely impressive. And if you look back on a lot of her runs, she has improved every single time, and she's won every single time, and that's hard to knock and hard to beat. Epatante, I'm not sure. I mean, she still has to prove she's back after the last run as well. I mean, I know that Nikki Henderson saying she is and she's doing well in that, but we'd have to take that with a pinch of salt until we see her on the day. And she's I think she's too short to take a chance on just after the last run. I'm not too sure how strong champion hurdler was last year. I think it's a much stronger one this year as well. Goshen coming in at the last minute now really makes it a very interesting race. I'm not sure he's quite up to her standard, and also with the Ameri's allowance, I think that's going to make a difference. I mean, coming up that hill, if there's if there's only a length or two between them, I mean, that could make a difference with her. She does battle well. She showed before winning in Cheltenham that she can battle up the hill. So I can't see any reason why she's going to get beat. And I think anyone who got that 16-1, that was a great show, because there was no talk of champion hurdle from the connections at that stage. So it was really a good show to think that that they've changed. I was on that pod and I didn't take any notice because I actually pushed Sharjah up each way.
I wouldn't give up on Sharjah though.
No, I mean the ground might help him as well. Plus, I mean, I just thought the ride they gave him in the Dublin Racing Festival, sitting out the back like that. I mean, anybody who gives Honeysuckle that kind of length and lead is always going to struggle. I think they realise that now. Maybe they underestimated her as well, as many of us have. But look, Sharjah each way. I won't give up on. I think a bit of course form and Sharjah each way, but Honeysuckle to win by a couple of lengths anyway.
And unfortunately, I can't delay the inevitable gloating anymore. I mean, first of all, it was just great to see Goshen back, wasn't it, after the bad runs on the flat and then a poor run in the international hurdle at Cheltenham. But the caveat is he was giving weight to Song for Someone, who is a solid yardstick, but he's not a real genuine Grade 1 horse. Would you be convinced that Goshen can use that as a stepping stone to really thrust himself into the champion hurdle picture and win the best 2-mile race of the season?
Just on the race at the weekend with Goshen, I know people are saying Song for Someone never run well. Obviously, bigger weight than Goshen on the day. But did Goshen have to do anything to win? Absolutely not. None. Cajoled along over the final hurdle. It wasn't a hard race for Goshen, in my opinion. Like I said on the previous podcast, you can forgive a horse a bad run over hurdles. I appreciate it's been strangely campaigned with the flat runs. I mean, even as the chairman of the Goshen fan club, I can't defend the flat runs. I mean, I just thought they were bizarre, but Gary Moore's took that decision to do it. And first run in the international, obviously problem with the horse, pulled up, get the horse right, bounce back, win Song for Someone, who won that race coincidentally. Whether you think there was an issue with Song for Someone or not, he's come back and won the winner of that race by 22 lengths. So there's absolutely no disputing for me that Goshen's a champion hurdle contender. Is he good enough to beat Honeysuckle? Only time will tell. Like Darren's already said, I think the only thing that's sort of making me a bit cautious about going all in, betting wise on Goshen, is that mare's allowance, and that is a worry for me. Like Darrell says, coming up that hill, that could be a major factor here. As initially we didn't think Honeysuckle was going to come here. We thought it was a mare's hurdle horse all along, and then he goes and wins the Irish Champion Hurdle, the Dublin Racing Festival, and it's a bit of a game changer and won well that day. Epatante, I can't have it. Daryl Jacob he made an interesting point when we spoke to him last week. For me, I asked him, would Show Royal have got closer to him, and initially he indicated no, and then he went, well, you know, if we didn't have the drama at the start and Silver Streak goes in the front, it could well have been a different race. And that was the sort of angle I was coming from with that line of questioning. So we've had that run. It was a bit of the race cut up a bit with the drama at the start, where they're not so sleepy. So then we've got the run at Kempton in the Christmas hurdle. I think Henderson's blaming a bad back that day, isn't he, for Epperson? So, you know, if that is the case, she's got to bounce back from that, and you can't be backing Epperson for me in the champion hurdle on the back of that run. So for me, it's with a heavy heart, Will, I'm going to have to say. I've got my anti-post ticket on Goshen still. I've had to root it out the draw after the weekend, wipe the dust off it, but I don't think I'll be collecting, to be honest. I think it could be Honeysuckle for the win. But funny we should say that. Darryl Jacob threw another curveball in, didn't he, at the end of the last podcast? Is James de Burley 50-1 on William Hill still.
Down to 33s now. I've got up on, I'll check her here. It's a sea of blue for James de Burley after seemingly Willie Mullins' stable told the Racing Post and other media outlets today.
Yeah, he's been cut. I'm just looking on 365 now. He's 30 fees before cut into 20s. So obviously people must be listening to the last podcast, mustn't they? Getting the money on. But no, that horse has been campaigns at graded level over in France. 5-year-olds coming in fresh last run in November. I mean, Willie's an expert at getting them ready for Cheltenham, so he obviously feels that there's no need to get a pipe opener or a run into him before the festival. So, you know, I think you'd be a fool not to have an each way bet on him, to be honest. Willie Mullins has come out in the stable tour, endorsed it, said, you know, we're going for the champion solely. Darryl Jacobs give it as his bet at the festival for us, hasn't he? I mean, you'd be a fool not to back it. So for me, James de Burley each way, and I can't believe I'm saying it, Honeysuckle to win with him. Unfortunately, Goshen probably in second and James de Burley in third. I might do the sidecast to make you feel better.
Just in regards to Honeysuckle, lads, like obviously you've got to look at negatives when you're taking on a short price favourite in a Grade 1. Would you be worried about it on over 2 miles if it was quick ground? Because I'd be worried. Because obviously it was impressive in the Irish Champion, but that's heavy ground. It'd be a different ball game if we get the usual sprint ground, I think. And I don't know. Will she be able to hold a position throughout the race? Has to be a bit of a concern at a short price.
It depends on the tactics, though, doesn't it? Because it was a front-running performance, wasn't it, at the Dublin Racing Festival, as opposed to the mares. Rachel Blackmore completely outsmarted, didn't she? Paul Townend on Benny. So, I mean, going from the front,
it only took it up in the Irish Champion because of the lack of pace. I think in this Champion hurdle, you'd expect Silver Streak to continue to go from the front after the Christmas hurdle, and there's no way Goshen's not going to be up near the front. I think Rachel will drop Honeysuckle in, but I'd just be a bit concerned that she might lose a position if they do go very fast and it is quick ground, and that's why I wouldn't want to touch it until I knew what the ground was going to be.
So you think? I mean, for me, I don't think ground's really an issue from my perspective. I don't know what Darren thinks, but I mean, coming up the hill at Cheltenham, you need a bit of staying. You need a stayers, don't you? And yeah. Honeysuckle's proven over a longer trip. So for me, I think that will go in a favour more than anything, as opposed to the 2 milers going strong from the front. I think Honeysuckle could, if she was run off the pace, could pick up the pieces easily.
I suppose it depends if you want to take that Irish Champion hurdle form literally, because the last time she ran over 2 miles before that was obviously the same race last year, and she looked beat at one point, didn't she? I don't know. That was on yielding ground in 2020. Sorry, and then I don't know. I just have a bit of a concern because I can't see her going from the front because I think there'll be too much pace on. And if we get good ground over 2 miles, because for me she's definitely a better horse over 2.5. I just have a bit of concern about taking a short price on her.
The one thing we can say about this race, though, I think it's the strongest renewal we've had at the Champion Hurdle in a while. We've got a couple of previous winners in Bouvedere, obviously Epitaph from last year. Goshen, obviously going to hack up in the Triumph last year. That's strong form, even though he hasn't won left-handed, but that's a different argument. He was going to win anyway. Charger's being placed. I think another one as well that's interesting for me, I don't know what you think, is Aspire Tower. I think he didn't run the Dublin Racing Festival, did he? I think he'd been saved for the champion. That's another one at 20-1. You're in with an each way shout there.
Hadley it didn't half win so well as well. Looked a much stronger horse now, and it's only going to continue to improve. Out of the 5-year-olds, Aspire Tower and Goshen, surely Aspire Tower is the better 20s. But I think it'll do well to make the frame. But I can see the argument that it's a horse improving. And how many times do you see the trainer have the favourite and the second string goes in?
I mean, a lot of times in the modern day now, online bookmakers give us 4 or 5 places for big races. Darren, if you were looking for a big price that you think might sneak 4, 4, 5, is there anything there that might be a little bit of value, do you think?
Well, I suppose if Sharjah keeps going out in price, you're getting 14-1 non-runner no bet now, which is fairly decent. And I think on the day you might get better than that because I can see. I wouldn't be surprised, lads, if Goshen pushes Honeysuckle for favouritism on the day. I mean, it's already come in from 10-1. What was it, 5-1 earlier today?
4s now.
4s now. Yeah, I'm not sure. I agree with the ground on Honeysuckle. I'd be much more comfortable if it's given it, but in her earlier races she did win on good yielding, so I think she may be one of them, just one of them horses that can handle anything. I don't think Goshen's going to get placed, to be honest with you. I don't think he's. I don't think he has that. I just don't think he will. And Epitaph has to come back and prove it. So I'm looking at Sharjah or even Abracadabras may come in at a place, an each way place. But certainly on the day, I would wait if I was going to buy Honeysuckle now because I think she may drift.
Okay, lads, we'll end the podcast by getting your 1, 2, 3 in the Champion Hurdle as things stand. Darren, we'll go to you first.
I'll go Honeysuckle, Sharjah, and Abracadabras.
Henry?
It's all on the ground for me, to be honest. Well, because the argument for Honeysuckle is the quick ground over 2 mile. If it's soft ground, I'll go Honeysuckle first, Epitaph second, Abracadabras third. And if it's quick ground, it'd be Epitaph first, Abracadabras second, and I think Sharjah will be third.
And Ant, I hope you've got your resignation from resigning from the Goshen fan club at the ready. What's your 1, 2, 3?
Heavy heart, Honeysuckle, Goshen second, and I'll go with James de Burley for third on the basis of Darryl Jacobs' recommendations for that. But I think it will be an interesting betting piece on the day, and I think the market as it is at the moment will certainly be shaken up on the day. I think we're going to have a really strong favourite on the day. I think the Irish money is going to come strong for Honeysuckle, and I think that could go off 6-7-4, to be honest. And there's going to be a drift on Epitaph for me on the day. You can't be, like I say, you can't be backing on the back of a fighting fifth. That race wasn't ran to form, in my opinion. It was completely ruined at the start, and I think we've mostly went over that. So yeah, for me, Honeysuckle, Goshen, and James de Burley.
Cracking stuff. Well, you've been listening to our Champion Hurdle preview on our podcast. Join us next time.